and welcome. I'm Deborah Jones, and I'm joining you today from my studio outside Dallas, Texas. And I'm really excited about today's event for a couple of reasons. One is because we are talking all about monograms, and we're going to take you beyond monograms. You know, I love all kinds of embroidered lettering, and today we have a lot to talk about and show you some cool techniques and ways that you can make your monograms more special than ever. Because, you know, with monograms, there are traditions, but there are no rules. And you're going to learn how to create perfectly formed small letters without any knots, without any bulky areas, that look really crisp and clean, easy to read. You're going to learn how to stitch exquisite personalizations on fine fabrics and how your thread choices affect the quality and appearance of your lettering. And you're going to be able to check out some stitch-worthy jumbo fonts. In addition to those tiny fonts, we go from one extreme to the other in size in this class, and we're going to teach you how you can make a big impression with your lettering. So we even have some hooping tips for you. So this is really a great class where you're going to learn a lot about lettering, and you know, you can watch it all the way through Sunday night, because we have the whole weekend to enjoy this great class. And you know, the other reason I told you I'm really excited about today's class is that it is being hosted by a good friend of ours at Dime, and that is Oh My Crafty. And joining us today is Matt Winter from Oh My Crafty, and I'd love to welcome Matt on screen now. Hi, Matt.
Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, Matt. It's so good to see you. And wow, what a beautiful, colorful group of products you've got behind there. In fact, I recognize a bunch of those. And that's because you've started to feature a lot more Dime products in your Oh My Crafty offering, which is pretty extensive. You have a lot of supplies for the home embroiderer and crafter, right, Matt?
That's correct. And one of our most recent items that we've been started introducing is going to be the snap hoops, and it's been a very popular item. Everybody loves them. Very easy to hoop everything with that.
Well, yeah, and I hope that your beautiful wife Tisha is enjoying using those snap hoops as well, because I know she does a lot of the designing of those free gift designs that you offer to your followers every single day at ohmycraftysupplies.com, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so that really takes some talent. And I know you guys, one great reason to follow Oh My Crafty is because you guys really walk the walk. You are embroiderers, right?
That is correct. That's one thing that we started out doing and we love doing, and we just like to share our love for embroidery to everybody, really.
Yes, and you do a great job of it. You know, if any of our viewers are not familiar with the daily email from Oh My Crafty, you can sign up at that uh, web address going across the bottom of your screen, ohmycrafty.com. And every day in your inbox will be a beautiful free design as well as featured sale products, right, Matt?
That is correct.
Yeah. So, you know, Matt, you guys have had some real, challenges. You know, you've had those terrible storms over there, and you guys have just bounced back like a rubber ball. So we're really happy that you guys continue to stay very focused and able to bring us all these cool products.
Thank you. That's good to actually be able to do it.
Well, I know you guys, I can tell by the smile on your face that you enjoy what you're doing for the craft community. And we certainly are happy that you are partnering with us here at Dime, and want to thank you for that. And, you know, I am really also excited that we have one of our premier educators here at Dime that's going to be teaching this class today. And I'd like to introduce her now and have her join us, and that's Aine McCarthy. Ain, welcome. Hey, listen, Ain, you are really such a treasure because you have been stitching since you were in first or second grade, right?
That's right, Deborah. Thank you so much for welcoming. And hi, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
So,
How are you?
yes, you're right. I started sewing my doll clothes by hand when I was really little. And as soon as I was big enough to reach, now my mom's singer had a knee control for the gas pedal, not a foot pedal. And so as soon as I was big enough to reach that, she taught me how to run that sewing machine.
Wow, that is so cool. And today, Matt, Ain is a quilter, an embroiderer. She also loves to construct garments. So she really runs the gamut of the needle arts. And we're really excited to have her teach us about monograms today. So she has so much to teach us. I'm going to get off screen here and let her get started. And Matt, I want to thank you again for hosting us today because you make all this possible, the special education and the special event prices that we're going to enjoy all through the weekend. So thanks so much for hosting, Matt.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we're going to let you take it away, Ain.
Thank you so much, Deborah. And hello, everyone. Welcome to today's event on going beyond monograms. Now, as Deborah said, we've got a lot of really great stuff for you today. But before we get started, I want to introduce someone else, and that is Tammy Madden, who will be over in the chat room. She will be answering your questions. She is an embroidery and sewing expert in her own right. So, Tammy, come on in and say hi.
Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, depending on where you're at. And we have a huge crowd over here in the chat asking questions already. We've already getting to know each other.
That is awesome.
Well, Ain, I will be over here in the chat. I want everybody to ask questions. Drop what your favorite dime product is.
That's
and
good.
what, Ain, about every 30 minutes, we'll get back together and we'll bring some of your questions live.
Absolutely. We're going to answer some of those questions right here on the air. So at least tell us where you're viewing from, everyone.
And they are sharing. We are all over the country.
And that is incredible. Wonderful. So Tammy, let's get started and I'll be back to you in about 30 minutes.
Sounds great.
All righty. So as I said, welcome everyone to our program today on monograms. Monograms are such a classic. They are pretty much the ultimate in personalization, and they carry with them a very long tradition. But we're going to talk about the traditional today, but we're going to go beyond the traditional and talk a lot about how you can take monograms to the next level. There is just something about a monogram that can take a lowly placemat or a napkin or a notebook cover or even a backpack and make it something really special. A few years ago, it seemed like everybody and their dog made one of, a zipper pouch or a bag out of one of those Pioneer Woman placemats that we found at Walmart. And you know what? They all looked alike. And you know what we did to make them special? We put our name on them. We put our initials on them. And these personalizations can be absolutely downright gorgeous. And you can go big with monograms. You can make ginormous monograms for pillows or for shower curtains. Everything's fair game. You can monogram pillow shams, pillow covers, towels, tote bags. You can even monogram your car. Well, not the car itself maybe, but the headrest covers. You can monogram boots, or at least the boot socks. And go beyond that traditional monogram on a t-shirt and maybe put it on a little pocket out of some matching fabric and put that on your t-shirt. And you can monogram your desk. Well, your accessories at least. And how about monogramming a lamp? Just put your monograms on the lampshade. That's going beyond the traditional. Have you ever thought, well, can you have too many monograms? Well, I don't know. Not according to some people, like Reese Witherspoon, who lives by the motto, if it's not moving, monogram it. And a lot of people have the sentiment that a monogram just makes everything better. Some monograms have been developed into logos, such as the logos for Yves Saint Laurent and Coco Chanel fashion houses, or sports team logos, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, New York Yankees, even sports stars, Tiger Woods. Roger Federer has a iconic monogram logo that is just incredible. Even fast food giants, that double arches for McDonald's is actually a monogram. So join me today with Buzz Lightyear, and we are going to take you to monograms and beyond. Here's the topics for today. We are going to discuss the guidelines for modern monograms, just as Deborah said. We're going to see how we can combine fonts, designs, embellishments to make these beautiful monograms. And a couple of very unique ideas using dazzling letters and elegant shadow work. And big or small, we're going to love them all. And we've got tips and suggestions for fabric stabilizer and some unique thread treatments. Here's how this is going to work. You're going to watch me in the video window, and I'm going to show slides and do some software demonstrations and show you a lot of samples and how-tos under the camera. And then right next door, as we said, there's the chat pane. We encourage you to make a comment, ask questions. Tammy is there to help you out, and we may answer your question right on the air. And since today is a learn and shop event, you're going to have the opportunity to purchase products at very special prices. We got a lot on sale today. And as we said earlier, you're going to be able to watch this replay and shop and enjoy these special prices, not only for the next 48 hours, but clear until Sunday night, because it's a Thursday. And that's one of the great things about having a Thursday event is that the shopping is open until Sunday night. Here's a couple of things I want to make sure that you do. If you see that yellow dot up in the upper left or something that says embroidery event, don't click that. That's going to take you over to YouTube. And if you see something that says watch on YouTube or watch here, don't click those. That'll take you over to YouTube, off of the shopping window. You won't be able to chat or comment. We want you to stay right here, okay? Underneath the video window, you will see pictures of all of the things that we have selected to be on sale today. And then underneath each is a green view product bar. If you click that, then you're going to get more information about the product and then have the opportunity to add that to your cart. So as you build your shopping cart, it will appear off to the side. Then when you're ready to check out, you'll just click that green checkout bar, and that's going to take you to this window. We've got a few payment options for you to consider. And also it shows you a window with the words show order summary. That's very important. Now that I do want you to click, because that then gives you a summary of your shopping cart and brings you to another very important window with the words gift card or discount code. In that window, I want you to type the word of the day, creativity. Perfect for us sewists. Creativity. When you put that in that window, you're going to get free shipping on all of your purchases anywhere in the United States. And we'll be reminding you of that shipping code throughout the program. I also want to bring your attention to the fact that we have bundles. And when manufacturers bundle, that's when you get to save. We've got 3 different bundles. The first one you'll see is the PEP Made Easy bundle. PEP stands for Perfect Embroidery Professional, which is our top of the line, full feature, editing, digitizing, creating software. It's on sale. We've bundled it with lessons to help you learn the software. A lot of people wait for these special events to get PEP at a discount price. Today's the day. We also have 2 other bundles, one called Word Art and Stitches bundle, which features our software that we are going to talk about today, and a starter kit, Beyond Monograms starter kit, that has a lot of goodies in it. Now, I'll be talking about these 2 bundles throughout the program, but I just want to bring your attention to the fact that you have a great chance to save today. And we have a free gift for you to just thank you for your support of great organizations like Oh My Crafty and Dime. We want to give you this frame that you can use for a monogram. It's only, 2 1/4 by 3 inches high. You can use it either in the portrait or the landscape orientation. Go all the way to the end of the product list. Then you might have to do next page or scroll all the way down. Add it to your cart at no charge. You'll get an email with instructions on how to download. Just be aware that it is digitized for 60 weight thread, which is a finer thread. No problem. You're going to be able to get 60 weight thread on sale today. If a monogram is a sign of identity of something, and it's composed of initials or a name. When you put it on something, embroider it, it becomes a part of that item. And it really imparts a higher significance to that item because it signifies ownership. So it's no wonder that there's a lot of guidelines to make sure that that monogram looks the best it can. And as Deborah said at the beginning, these are just monograms. I mean, they are just guidelines for your monograms. You can really make your monogram look any way that you want, but there is one important priority for you to be aware of. You've got to make sure that the monogram or the initials or the name is legible. And you've got to be able to make sure that the reader, the person viewing it, is able to discern one letter from another. Because otherwise, if you can't read it, why bother putting it on the item? So let's look at some of these guidelines for monograms, starting with the simplest, a single letter monogram. You can use the first or last name for your initial. And this is the style that's preferred if you're doing a monogram for children. Just use their first name initial. But you can really jazz these up with flourishes and embellishments and little embroidery designs. You can really go festive with these. Let's go on to two-letter monograms. When you are using these for an individual, you're going to use the first and last name initials, and you stitch them in the same size. You can embellish these also with brackets and swirls and decorations, and you can really make these gorgeous. A two-letter monogram can also be used for a couple, maybe not sharing the last name. And you could do a lot of variations on a two-letter monogram. You can stack the letters, you can do them in the round, you can do them diagonally or on a stair step. And if you are using these for a couple, not sharing the last name, make sure that you put some type of special characters to signify that. Maybe a plus sign or an ampersand, a tilde. Or here's a unique treatment. Take one of the letters and mirror image it. Now you got to have the right letters and you got to have the right font, but there's an idea for you. Don't worry, you don't have to design these because all of these variations are in our feature software today, which is Word Art and Stitches. Let's go on to three-letter monograms. This is the one that we're very familiar with this because this one is commonly used. You see it a lot because it's used for both an individual and perhaps a couple. And it comes in two formats. So let's talk about those formats. The first one is the block monogram format. And this one, you use letters all the same size. And this is what you usually see on men's attire. I mean, their shirt cuff or their tie or their shirt pocket. The initial sequence in that situation is the first name, the middle name, then the last name. And you stitch them all the same size. So Brett Robert Taylor's monogram might look something like that. The other format is the so-called feminine format. And this is what we're familiar with this. It's a large center letter flanked by two smaller letters of the same size. It's called a feminine format because this was traditionally used for women. The last name was in the middle, and then her first initial and middle initial were on either side. Now, you can also use this format for couples, and it's traditionally used with the surname in the center, the large one, and the husband and wife's initials on either side. When this format was first developed, the husband's initial went on the left because it was thought that you probably shouldn't separate men's initials. And people kind of got, a chuckle out of that because, of course, the ladies on the right because ladies are always right. This is kind of now morphed into the more modern treatment where we put the ladies on the left because the ladies are first. And then the husbands is on the right. Now, this brings up an important point. Maybe Andy and Nancy Robinson don't want NRA on their towels or their sheets or their linens. So take a look and don't generate an unintended result because you've got a couple of other ways to do that three-letter treatment. You can put the large letter and then the smaller letters stacked, either off to the side, or you can place them underneath. So there's a lot of different ways that you can have that treatment. Beware of an unintended result when doing a double letter monogram, such as Paul Unger, Becky Smith. Maybe you should use that middle initial. Or even in that 3 initial, maybe Pamela Sue Madison for her, maybe you don't want to use that middle initial and just go with the first and last name. How about 4-letter monograms? This is great in very unique situations. Maybe you've got a couple not sharing the last name and you want to use a 4-letter monogram to represent both persons, maybe for same-sex couples. Or you can use these for double-barreled surnames, whether they're hyphenated or not. So in the upper right, maybe Madeline and Andrew Lloyd Webber, maybe they have a 4-letter monogram. Or the actress that played Elaine on Seinfeld, using her middle name, Julia Scarlett Louis Dreyfus, maybe she's got a hyphenated 4-letter monogram. And you can use 4-letter monograms in very unique situations, whether if your last name has a contraction, O something, O'Hare, O'Sullivan, or D something, D'Artagnan, or something like that. You can be very creative with a 4-letter monogram. Or if the last name has a preposition, we see often a DE or DA or a Von or a LA, Patty Marie DeLuca, 4-letter monogram indicating that last name of DeLuca. So let's see some samples, shall we? I'm going to go right to the camera here and show you some of the samples. So first of all, here's your free gift. I sewed it in this nice little linen bookmark, and you can see how delicate it is. And I put my middle initial for that monogram right in there. So this is what you get as your free gift. And this is the very traditional monogram that we think of, on a terry cloth towel, nice intertwining letters, and you can easily read it because these letters have a large enough column satin stitch in order that it doesn't sink into the terry cloth. Which brings me to, let's say, your choices of fonts. You have literally thousands and thousands of choices of fonts, but basically they are either a serif font, which you see here with the little extensions on the letters, or a sans serif font with clean strokes on the letters. So this is the type of treatment you would see on men's attire. Not this big, of course. I made it deliberately larger so that you could see it on camera. So these are the kinds of block formats. And sometimes you can get really fancy with the little serifs and make curlicues out of them. Now, you wouldn't put this on men's attire, but just gives you the range of fonts in your choices. Now, again, thinking about the rule of it's got to be able to be read and be legible by the viewer. Here's an example. So here's a great looking font, lots of fun in it, but Lily is a little bit hard to read in this particular font treatment. Whereas same font, just different letters, and this is a great, set of letters for this particular monogram, for this particular font. And Word Art and Stitches lets you audition your font. Now, again, great font, but with these particular initials, it's hard to make out individual initials. So Irene Elizabeth Larkin, maybe use a different font. But that very same font for Richard Charles Davidson looks great. So again, also, look at what you're creating. These letters are fabulous individually, but when put together in that block monogram format, there's a whole lot going on in here. And it looks much better just isolated as one letter so that you can really see the beauty of that particular font. Again, same with here, great looking font, but when used in all uppercase, all block format, there's just a lot going on. Much better, same font, but much better with the entire name so that you've got it in upper and lowercase letters. And be aware of using your descenders in your particular word and what font you're using. So example, for this monogram, I'm going to put the last name, this is my husband's last name, in this confined space. But the font that I chose not only made descenders, not only of the Y, but on the H and on the capital L. So if I chose a block font, that was a lot easier to place in this confined space. And it even gave me a couple of rooms for some little charm designs. Now let's go beyond the traditional monograms and let's Do family monograms. How about this? So you could do something like this on placemats, on pillows, on garden flags. You can do something like this with the date that's established. A monogram, a 4-letter monogram in a frame with maybe the parents on either side and the kids. But I love this one for Mother's Day, Family Day, Christmas tree skirts, wall hangings, where you've got the surname of the family, maybe the date of the wedding, and then each of their 4 kids' names and birth dates. So that's going beyond the traditional. And here's everybody can generate an initial monogram, a baby bib, but let's go beyond and decorate it with some ruffles and some matching fabric. Is it pretty? Yes, it's absolutely adorable. Is it practical? No, who cares? It's so cute. And here's a nice idea for a gift for a monogram, padded hanger covers, which everybody really needs and enjoys. It's such a touch of indulgence. And I made these, and look at these beautiful designs, again, are also in our feature software, Word Art and Stitches. I've got the large monogram there, and you can just barely see right here. And I did it on purpose to just kind of ghost these letters so that they just have that subtle message there. And on the matching hanger, I did a layered monogram with a large initial in the back and then her entire name over the top. These are going to be gifts for my sister-in-law. And I brought in these travel stamps that we're so familiar with on our passports. Again, these are already in Word Art and Stitches. I also want to bring your attention to the fact, look at how this text goes right in between the travel stamps, right where I wanted. I drew this path and lined my text in Word Art and Stitches, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And here's a way to go beyond monograms on just a plain t-shirt. Maybe get the t-shirt, and instead of just putting the monogram here, again, put it on some pocket fabric, and so that you can sew that down, and make it bold by putting foam and using foam underneath that letter. We're going to talk about using foam in a little bit. And get that whimsical fabric out and do something that really kind of jazzes up that monogram. Maybe bring in a little design that keeps that fabric theme going and put that. Now that's really a cute addition and way to jazz up that monogram. And keep that whimsical fabric in mind when you're doing napkins. So on napkins like this is applique. So it allows me to make that dramatic letter, bringing in that whimsical fabric that matches both in the pink and the turquoise napkin. And it reflects some of the design elements that are in the font that I've chosen. So those are lots of fun. And again, go beyond just the name. Maybe bring in a little charm design that really reflects the theme of this baseball shirt. So let me go back to the slides here, and we will talk about how to get those gorgeous, beautiful monograms and more with Word Art and Stitches. This is our feature software today. Now, you know what? Over 75% of embroidery machines are purchased because people want to put their names on stuff. And you can do that with Word Art and Stitches. This is a professional lettering function all in one program. You can do fun fonts, you can do functional, you can do elegant or whimsical embroidered text. You can create custom lettering and monograms, and you can embellish them with frames, designs, scrolls, flourishes, whatever you would like. Because there are over 250 keyboard fonts, and keyboard font is you type it on your keyboard and the letters come in. There are monogram fonts, there's monogram designs, applique fonts, puffy fonts, micro fonts, there's even calligraphy fonts, and the ability to make a font out of a true type font on your word processor. There are travel stamps, lots of embellishments, travel stamps, the ink spots, text designs, which are little embroidery designs we call charms. There's even a monogram wizard, which is brand new. There is the capability to do bubble text, which is one of its most favorite features, and subway art templates. It saves, Word Art and Stitches will save to all machine embroidery formats. So no matter if you're stitching on a Bernina, Genome, Viking FOF, Brother Baby Lock. It will save and be compatible with your machine. And with all Dime software, all the updates are free. And Word Art and Stitches had a massive update a few months ago. So those of you viewing out there, if you already have Word Art and Stitches, dig it out, open it up, and do the update. You will be amazed at there's new fonts, there's new features, there's new wizards, and I'm going to be showing you some of the new things today. And as with all Dime software, it is Windows and Mac compatible. So how about let's see it? Let's see Word Art and Stitches in action. And I'll be happy to bring you, I'm at the software right there. And one of the new fonts that we just released is this gorgeous Taj Mahal font. And look at all of the items in there. Look at how great and how whimsical and how fun this font is. Now, you can do just about anything you want with the font. You can make it larger. You can do it in kind of a stair-step fashion. You know, you can put it back like that. You can change the colors so easily. So if you just want to have, if you don't want to have red and you want to have a blue instead or purple instead, you just with one click, you've got it done. If your flowers want to be yellow or maybe orange instead of pink, it just takes one click. There's so many things that you can do because, and you see that I'm just clicking on the icons. This program is all icon driven. All of the icons on the top or on the left is how you do all of the executions. And you don't have to remember or learn by heart what the icons do. All you have to do is hover your mouse over it and a little pop-up window tells you what that icon does. And if you want more information, you just press F2 or function F2 on your keyboard and a little video will pop up right there on your screen helping you learn what that icon does. And everything that Word Art and Stitches does, all of the functionality is included in your purchase. You don't have to buy an additional pack or level up. It's all right there. The manual is just one click away right under the help menu. And in fact, there's also a film strip tutorial that when you click it, it will take you right over to the YouTube channel and right to the educational library from Dime with all of the videos on how to learn the software. We have pumped up this software so that you can make gorgeous professional lettering. So let's go do some of that. Let's go and get a new page and I'm going to activate the text tool and I will show you, let's say, look at all of the fonts that you have available in this program. If you see them in red, those are the new ones. And one of my favorites is Antero. So I'm going to bring that on my screen and just type a name. We can do Rachel. And when I apply, there it is right there. And I'm just going to make it with one click. I can make it maybe a little bit darker letter so that you can see it. And there it is right there. Bring it up to the screen. You can manipulate the text envelope that the text now sits in. So you can, with all of these triangles and squares and circles, you can manipulate the envelope by making it kind of ascending. You can make it arch up at the top, arch down at the bottom. You can do anything using these particular dots and dashes. And in fact, you can take one letter out and manipulate it so that it's larger, bring that back in, and that's a very nice treatment for a name or a monogram. That's pretty cool. So let me just reset this because I'm going to say that everybody who wants to do text always wants to put it in a circle. Here's how easy that is to do in Word Art and Stitches. So I'll just put Rachel's last name on there. And working over in the properties box, just apply. And that's how easy it is to put the words in a circle. Now, if you notice, you can also alter the spacing between these letters. And we need to do that on this particular situation. because there's too much space there. But just grabbing those blue triangles, I'm going to move all the letters in so that it looks a lot better here and up on top. And you can get that just the way that you want it. You can also manipulate the circle that the text is in. So you can make it smaller, you can make it larger, you can roll the text around on the circle itself. You can even manipulate the shape of the circle so that it becomes more of an oval or an ellipse in case you've got something special in the middle, like maybe a picture, an applique, or an embroidery to put that around. Now, here's a couple of other really cool new things in Word Art and Stitches. And I'm just going to go back to the text tool and pick a different font, the Aurora, and I'm going to type Word Art. And just one click apply, and there it is. Now we've got some really cool features, such as this warp, which gives you the text in kind of a different perspective. And you could do it one way, you can do it the lower perspective. That kind of has that Star Wars look to it, that opening credits to Star Wars. You can even, as I reset this, you can even put it in a sphere, do the spheres function, where it looks like it's being wrapped around a cylinder. This would be really cool for labels, for canister labels or something like that. Now, let me reset that and I'll show you a few other cool things, but I'm going to change. Let's see. We'll do Ride the Waves, which is perfect because I've got another feature called Wave, and it puts the text in this wave, and you can change the waves, you can change the number of waves, you can move them around, and this would be really fun on lots of beach type of items. So we'll put that back, and I'm going to show you also, remember that hanger cover and how I made that text go right where I wanted it? So I'm going to show you how to do that by putting my text on a path. So I'm going to do this one, Ride the Roller Coaster, and I'm actually going to get the pen and I'm going to draw what a roller coaster ride might look like, just like that. And when I select them all and I click with just one click, text on path, yes, now that text follows that line that I just drew. And that's how I did it on that hanger cover. I drew the line exactly through those other embroidery designs and then put the text on path. You don't have to put it on a line. You can put it on a heart. You can put it on a shape, a diamond, a heart, a circle. You can do whatever you want. And you can make that text go right where you want. But certainly the superpower for Word Art and Stitches is monograms. So when I click one of the monogram tools, you see right there, there's the monogram all set out, and it automatically comes in that format where the middle letter is larger and the two on either side. But look at all of the formats. You get 22 different formats. All you have to do is type in the letter. So you've got that one. This is that interlocking one that I used on the towel. I also love this one, which is a brand new Deco Block monogram. Really gorgeous satin stitches. And on this one, you can use it as a 2-letter monogram. Just type in the letters and it makes them all one size. But as soon as you put in the third letter, it does take it back to that center letter being larger. Now, you can make sure that you audition the letters so that you don't end up with something that just doesn't look good in that monogram. Some of them look, that one's nice. That one looks really cool. But with Word Art and Stitches, you can audition all of these monograms and pick just the absolutely perfect one. And here's another item in Word Art and Stitches that is a fantastic new addition, and that is the Monogram Wizard. This will give you all of those designs and formats that I showed you in the slide. This is a 1-letter format. Look at all of those designs that you don't have to format. The design's already done with you. So you can do 1 letter, you can do 2 letters, such as that one. All of these, some of them have a different character, a different treatment, lots and lots of variations. You can do 3 letters, which you can use for an individual, or you can use for couples sharing the last name. All of these you could play with and find just the perfect one that you want, even a 4-letter template. So for any of these, and it's so easy to change the letters in them. So let's try, let's do this one. Let's pick that one. And so now you've got that large letter, maybe for the surname, and you just change the letters right there in that workbox right here to see how easy it is to change the letters. So maybe there's 2 G's, you just click apply, and that's how easy it is. And then it comes right on your workspace. So, but let me go to the one that's family, and that is, it's under name. And so these can be used for family monograms. Like for this one, if you want to do this one for the O'Brien family, maybe you're going to put it on a pillow that's on your porch. So you can change the name and make it a possessive. Hang on, I want to do this one. The Nelson's porch. That would be cool for maybe a flag or a pillow, just that easily. Or you can do something that maybe a little message. The Nelsons welcome you. And that's a great garden flag. And you can even do, I'm going to go back to that, find that one with all of there's the name, the surname, and then you just go in and you can change the dates and the names for the people that you want to do the monogram for. And some of these other icons, there's the ink spots, and I use those decorations in the hanger cover. And there is those travel stamps that I used. And there is the library that will contain all of the text designs that you can use to decorate your monogram and go beyond just a regular monogram. There's even a couple more alphabets right in here, one for crayons, one for space, beautiful one for Victoria, and some geometric shapes. So there are so many things that Word Art and Stitches can do. Here's just a review. The monogram tool, 22 different monograms. You can put that text on a path. You can do those really cool features where you change the perspective or put it around the cylinder. We've also got applique fonts in Word Art and Stitches, micro fonts, fonts that are specifically designed for small text, calligraphy fonts, which are just gorgeous, and of course the favorite features of bubble text and subway art. And stay tuned because I'm going to be demonstrating those a little bit later. So how do you get Word Art and Stitches? You're going to get it in the bundle today. You're going to get the software that you can download right after purchase. So as soon as you purchase Word Art and Stitches, you can download it and start playing with it and learning it right away. You also get 3 embroidery software success tutorials in PDF form that you can print out, and that will give you a skill set at a time to help you be creative right away. Plus, in this bundle, you're going to get a code for a 30-minute private software lesson with one of the Dime educators. You're going to do it over Zoom, and it's one-on-one, private with you, and you can answer questions, and the educator will help you on some special projects. All of this is $499.99. So I'm just going to wait 5 seconds for everybody to click Word Art and Stitches bundle, put that in your cart, and start enjoying this program. In the meantime, I also want to show you the starter kit. This is packed full of lots of good items to do for monograms. There's blanks, there's needles, there's some thread, fine line thread. Mylar, and stabilizers. And I'm going to be talking about these throughout the program, but just know that this is a great bundle. You'll save money. And I'm going to help identify the items that are in the bundle when I show you this little seal. So I think this is a great time to stop and bring Tammy in to see if we've got questions.
Hey, we are doing great over here in the chat. We have lots with us today. They are great. We do have some questions, and they knew we were having our Q&A, so they're flying in over here.
Okay.
Ann is asking, how many downloads do you get? What if the computer crashes and you lose it?
We know that happens all the time. So with any Dime software, you get 2 installs. So if you got a PC and a desktop, or maybe you got a PC and a Mac, no problem. 2 installs.
That's right. And we have one more question about, the computer software. Does the software support Windows 11 and future OS?
Yes, I will. From firsthand experience, it will work on Windows 11 because that's what I've got on my computers. And that's the cool thing about Dime. They know that the operating systems get updated and changed, both in the Mac and the PC environment, and they will make the appropriate changes to work in those environments. And that's an update you get for free.
Did you say free?
Free.
That is correct. All of our updates are free. I just like it says free.
Yeah.
And we have another question from Dee. Dee says she is loving the program, but she is new to embroidery and she wants to know, is it easy for beginners?
The Word Art and Stitches is it's one of the most user-friendly programs out there because you can be creative and start doing letters right away within minutes of opening the program. There are lots of features that will take you into more advanced levels, but what the cool thing is, it's only as difficult as your level is. And if you're a beginner, it's great for beginners.
And there's a lot of help out there. I'm going to share with them the link to our Facebook group, which can ask questions, and our educators actually monitored it.
Yes.
There's video galore.
Yeah.
And also today you get that 30-minute session free with your purchase of Word Art and Stitches. Is that correct?
That's right. And it's really cool because you share screens with each other. And so you are seeing exactly the educator's screen, and they will help you out with what you want to learn.
And one thing I like to tell them is play around with that software. Have your schedule your appointment with that educator. Go in that software. Do not wait until the night before to download it, and play around so that when you come to that educator, you have questions. You are familiar with it a little bit so that you know exactly what you need help with.
Yes. Great idea, Tammy. Great.
Well, Ain, I know you have a lot more to show us, so I'm going to head over to the chat because I see a whole bunch of questions coming in for me. So okay. I will see you in the next 30 minutes.
Okay, you betcha. We'll see you soon. All right, let's go and see ways that we can really jazz up that monogram with shadow work, with foam, with Mylar film, and some specialty threads. First, let's talk about shadow work. It's really a unique yet very simple technique. And the process is that you stitch some design elements on one layer, then you put an additional layer on top, and then you stitch the remainder of the design. What you get is this really subtle watercolor painted effect. And we have a brand new font in Word Art and Stitches specifically for shadow work. It's called Shadow Work Font. It's really unique because if you type an uppercase letter, then you get just the letter. But if you use a lowercase letter, you not only get that letter, but you also get these cute little flower details on each side. So here's your process. You're going to hoop a layer of, maybe tear away, maybe wash away, sometimes even a layer of lightweight fabric. And then you stitch the complex fill part of the letter. Then in this case, we're going to stitch on this linen coaster, which is one of the blanks you get in your starter kit. We're going to find the center with a ruler that is in the embroidery toolkit, and then going to place that right on top of that stabilizer that we've got in the hoop. We're going to center it and then stitch an outline. And when we take the tearaway away, you get this really nice, subtle letter suitable for this delicate fine linen. Again, the embroidery toolkit we've got on sale today. It's got not only that special target and centering rulers, but some hoop shields so that when you use spray adhesive, it won't get all over your hoops, an angle finder, and some This kit is really useful and should be in everybody's embroidery room. Let's talk now about doing letters, text with embroidery foam, and you saw that in my samples. You basically introduce a layer of foam right underneath your stitches. You stitch right on top of the foam, and then when you tear the foam away, that gives a lot of dimension and texture and loft to your embroidery. We've all seen it on caps for sports teams where the letters really stand out. Now, you've got to have special fonts to use this foam because fonts that use foam usually have bold, wide satin stitch columns, or if they're more of a stroke, a curve, or a taper has to be in the font. And a lot of times there's a background outline for these fonts because we've got to have special stitches in there we call caps, which stitch at the ends of the strokes of the letters. That cuts the cuts the foam and also creates a really clean finish. So you see it on both columns and on the tapered ends. So let's just walk through step by step on how to put these foam letters on an apron, the bib of an apron. First of all, we're going to put the apron on a sticky hoop. This is Dime's new sticky hoop. And we're going to use it because then we don't have to worry about getting the straps and the clasps in the way. We're going to stitch a placement stitch, which indicates where we are going to place the foam. Then we stitch the letters in the same color of thread as the foam. When we're all finished, that foam, believe it or not, just lifts away. And invariably, you've got some little bits of foam sticking out, as you see in this really extreme close-up. No worries, you just get a craft level heat gun and heat those letters up, and that foam recedes back under those stitches, and you got a nice clean look. Word Art and Stitches has 13 different fonts specifically digitized for foam. They're easy to find because there's an icon that shows you where they are. And we've got embroidery foam that you need to do these foam letters. It's a variety pack. We've got 10 different colors in large sheets, larger than the other foam. And you can wash and lightly dry this foam. You can't do that with craft foam. Craft foam isn't washable and it crumbles. So make sure that you're using embroidery foam and just grab this and put that in your cart. And everybody knows that a foam letter looks great on a cap. And yes, you can embroider a cap on a flatbed machine. And I'm going to show you in one of the demos, but these are the tools that I'm going to use. A magnetic hoop clip, the sticky hoop, a hat pack that have the soft, unstructured hats, and print and stick target paper. They're all on sale today. So let's look at another way we can jazz up those monograms with Mylar film. And Mylar is a highly reflective film that we just place on our embroidery and we stitch right over it. It tears cleanly away. It shines through low density stitches so we get lots of sparkle and shine and shimmer. And Word Art and Stitches has a brand new font specifically digitized for Mylar. It's called the Mylar Surf font. It's an uppercase font. It would be great for gifts, for special occasions, holidays, parties. And if you sewed it with metallic thread, then you've got just that much more sparkle. Here's how easy it is to use. The font, Mylar font, has a placement line. You're going to stitch that first. Then you're going to lay the Mylar on top of that placement line, tape it in place. Don't spray adhesive it because you'll ruin the Mylar. It'll be cloudy. Then you stitch the fill stitches and an outline stitch, and you gently tear that along the edge, and your letter is just sparkly. I used these letters to make a patch that I put on a backpack for my great niece. And I also said she is so proud of her Irish heritage. She's 4 years old, and she loves being of Irish descent. And I put a little shamrock patch on there with the word sweet girl in Celtic, in Gaelic. So she loves her backpack. Take a look at this. Yes, she's so excited to have her backpack. And I use this Mylar. You know, there's a lot of different colors of Mylar, but we think that the blue opalescent color is the best because it's the best for that really sparkly effect. and the overstitched colors of your thread stay true. So your yellow stays yellow, your blue stays blue, and we've got it in large sheets though, so that you can do a number of great projects. But this one's in the bundle, in that starter kit bundle. And if you like that Celtic font, that is one of our 25 new fonts in the luxury font collection, which is volume 6 in our fonts. These aren't in Word Art and Stitches, but you can purchase them and add them into Word Art and Stitches and have that Celtic font and a number of other great fonts that Paris, Sleigh Ride, and 6 new monogram formats. So that's the luxury font collection, volume 6. Here's a couple of thread options for monogram that you may not have thought of, some metallic or variegated thread. First, metallic. We just can't get a good photo that shows you how gorgeous this metallic thread is, especially in a monogram, but it is absolutely luscious. And if you think that you've never would sew a monogram in metallic thread, let me introduce you to Kingstar, the #1 metallic thread. This doesn't kink, it doesn't break, it runs smoothly through your sewing machines, even at high speeds. You use a regular embroidery needle. This is the thread that the Japanese kimono industry uses to create those gorgeous garments. You don't have to, string it around the ceiling fan and around the doorknob. You just sew it. And today we've got the opportunity for you to get a gold, a silver, or this beautiful copper for $12.79 a spool. Try it. You will absolutely love it. And here's another idea for monograms that I bet you haven't thought of. Using variegated thread, such as the medley variegated poly from Dime. Look at the way that letter just jumps off of this purple napkin. That color is sunset, our variegated thread. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we have a unique way for you to get variegated thread, and that is with our Color Play thread kits. And you'll find those in the shopping pane below. You get 1 spool of the medley variegated and the 4 spools of the coordinating colors that exactly match that die pattern in the kit. You can use it for embroidery, you can use it for sewing, and you can use it for quilting. And this Carlsbad has that sunset variegated thread, plus all of those neon colors that match that sunset variegated thread. This is the one I can't keep my hands off. This is the real collection with the Carnival variegated thread and the tropical colors, the corals, the turquoise, the celery that exactly match it. But that one is in the bundle, so you can try it and fall in love with it just like I have. Now, we've got 12 different Color Play sets, so make sure that you find Color Play and click that View Product bar, because you'll get a drop-down list with all of the color names and pick the one that you want. We even have a brand new font in Word Art and Stitches that is called Color Play. It's a new decorative font. It's a series of run stitches, specifically digitized to be used with the medley variegated polyester thread. It's really cool. We've also got a couple of fonts that really look good in variegated thread in Word Art and Stitches. That the Diane that you see there, that's the Bridgeton font. The Sketchbook, these are run stitches, based on run stitches. The one that I think is gorgeous is this Cosmic Swirl. It reminds me of the hippie days. Those are all new. And we've got also one called Waffle, which is a series of complex fills. It looks good and solid, but it really looks cool in a variegated thread. So let's see a couple more samples, please, shall we? So let me go to the camera right here. I got to get the camera there. There we go. So here is the shadow work. Have you guys ever thought about doing shadow work? Honestly, neither have I until I saw this beautiful shadow work font. And here it is on the linen coasters. And these are the blanks that you get in the starter kit. But look how subtle and how pretty those letters are. And even on this hem stitch towel. Now that's the one that has the little flower details on either side of it. It works really nice with a sheer linen like this. And I even tried it on a pashmina, not usually thought of as sheer, but because it's such a loose weave fabric, I thought that a heavy traditional monogram wouldn't look as well as this shadow work. It's just very subtle. So let's look at foam fonts. I love using foam fonts in patches. It gives it a little bit more robust, and I even put foam around the edges. And here's a very traditional foam font, puffy font, with the serif block letters, and you can even see the little black outline around it. You can see the dimensions there. And who'd have thunk of putting foam fonts on a terry cloth towel? But think about it. It works great. It's washable. You can dry it, and you don't have to worry about the terry cloth loops poking up between your stitches because it's got a layer of foam on it. And it's so easily read and clearly seen. There's a great idea to go beyond the traditional. And here's the Mylar font. Look at the shine and shimmer that the Mylar font has in there. And even, you know what I did? I put that sphere feature on this so it exactly fit this oval patch. And if you're going to do just one letter for a monogram, which is perfect, jazz it up with this Mylar and make that really stand out. And the metallic threads. Now you can get an idea of how gorgeous a metallic thread would look on a monogram. These are napkins that I'm working on, red, white, and green for Christmas. I've got one done. I've got about 11 more to go. And I've got a really cool way to show you how to hoop these for maximum efficiency. And this is also a metallic. This is that copper. I love it with this color combination. That's really gorgeous. And you can see the shimmer right there. What about variegated thread? Look at this one. So this one, cute idea for a baby onesie, because since they are run stitch based, it's not really heavy and it's a really quick stitch out. So this is the denim blues variegated thread with one of the colors in the color play set that match it. Really cute. And here's what you get. So here's the Rio. Here's the color play thread kit. So you get these 5 spools. That's what it looks like, just like that. And you get the spool of variegated plus all of the colors that match exactly. And so here's what it is sewn out. So here it is in a quilting stitch, a feather stitch, a complex fill, a satin, but then each of the colors match exactly. And look how cool they are. Yes, that purple napkin looks just as good in person as it did in the picture. Beautiful monogram that really jumps off of that purple. And so here's just an example of some of those other. This is that cosmic swirl, how it actually looks with a variegated thread. This is a nice run stitch, perfect for variegated thread, really sews out quickly. So let me go back to the slides and we'll talk about when we monogram. A lot of times we are doing multiples. And one of the big issues on doing multiples is getting that design in the same spot every single time. So here's some tools and techniques that you can use to help you out with that. First of all, how about that sticky hoop? This is a one-piece metal hoop, and you use it by loading it with adhesive stabilizer right on the back. It holds your embroidery projects without using a top frame. And every sticky hoop that we have comes with 25 sheets of pre-cut stabilizer, perfectly cut to fit that hoop. But we've got refill packs available, both in sticky tearaway and an adhesive sew and wash, which is a water-soluble sticky. This is another item that is very helpful in helping you hoop and place your design accurately, and that is the PAL, the Perfect Alignment Laser Lamp. These lamps shoot a laser beam that's a crosshair that will help you when you bring your fabric over to be hooped, help you line it up. And I'm going to show you how I use that. Now, the PAL 2 is what we're showing here, and that's the larger one that clamps to the table. I wanted to show you a picture of it because, unfortunately, the one that I'm going to be using is off camera, but just so that you know what is off camera there. And this is the secret weapon for getting those designs in the same place, and that is the Perfect Placement Kit. There are 15 different plastic templates with guidelines and an opening where you can place a target sticker so that you can get perfect placement of designs on napkins and towels and shirt cuffs if you're going to do monograms, left chest, and a whole lot more. And we've got that on sale today. Here's what they look like. So you've got a plastic template that you can use on towels, a hand towel with a border or a shirt cuff, and it tells you exactly where to place that design. I'm going to be using the napkin on point to get those monograms, that L, in those napkins every single time. We've also got a perfect placement kit for kids, for children, their wearables, their t-shirts, hats, baby blankets, burp cloths, and a lot more. So let's go back to the camera and I will show you then the sticky hoop. So here is the sticky hoop. As you can see, now this is the 6x10. As you can see, it's just one piece. This is where it attaches to the machine. And let me try to get that glare out of there. There we go. That's better. And so I've got adhesive stabilizer on the back. I've already set it up. And you can see that I've used it before, and I've got some ghosts of stabilizer that I've used in the past, and that's okay. I just, when I use this, I just tear it off. And even if there's little shreds left behind, no big deal. Just put the next piece right on there. And when I peel it off now, that was the protective paper, of course. Now this is a sticky surface. So if I wanted to do, a cosmetic case like this, we all love these, flip top style. And as you can see, it looks great with the monogram. Well, if I was going to embroider that, I would just bring that over, place that right on the sticky hoop. I don't have to worry about a frame interfering with the rest of it. And that's going to be held enough so that I can embroider that. Another great idea is using this for, see these Velcro slippers, they Velcro shut, great for presents for mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa. And wouldn't they be great looking with a little message or a monogram? To embroider these, I would just place one right up here, get that lined up, and I can put the other one on the same hoop and I can embroider both of those. So easy to do without that top frame. And here is, let's see how we would set this up, to embroider initials on this hat. Well, first of all, I've got one of those soft unstructured hats that you have in the hat pack, and I've got the initials stitched on print and stick Targa paper, which is a specialty paper that is translucent, and I can line it up because it's got crosshairs right there where I want to have it stitched. And I'm going to bring over the magnetic hoop clip, which looks like the top of a paper, a clipboard, but it's got magnets on the back. So I would take the sticky hoop, and I'd probably use the 5x7 or maybe even the 4x4. But since I got the 6x10 in here, it's the same setup. And I would put the clamp right there on the bottom, and you saw how tightly that adhered. Bring the bill over, put that in the clamp, in the clip right there, flatten that down, smooth that out, flatten that down, line up my design, take it to the machine, and you can sew a hat on your flatbed machine. But let's look at how I'm going to do those napkins. So I've got quite a few more napkins to go, and I'm going to use from the Perfect Placement Kit, I'm going to use the template for the napkin on point. You can see the guidelines that I have there. So this is the next one that I'm going to do. So I'm going to open it up, and I will then place that template right on, let me straighten that up just a little bit, right on the corner of the napkin. Take my Target sticker and place that, lining it up with the guidelines that are on the template. And I can do that on every napkin that I'm going to embroider, because now my design is marked in the same place every time. And I'm going to use my sticky hoop to embroider these, and I'm going to turn on my PAL right off camera here, and you can see, I'll take that light off. Yes, you can see now that crosshair. Now I'm going to line that crosshair up with the zeros at the top and at the bottom, and I'm doing that off camera. And then I'm just going to bring it up just a little bit there and line it up this way on corresponding numbers with my centering guides. Now, when I bring my napkin over, I just line up that crosshair on my target sticker with my laser beam, and now I'm all straight, and I can take that to my machine and sew it. Now, once I've got that sewn, I'm not going to unhoop. Let's say that, okay, now I've got that letter sewn. I'm just going to lift this up, and I can tape it out of the way. And now I'm going to bring over my other napkin, which is marked in the same way. I'm going to move that sticky hoop up a little bit to maybe about right there. Again, line that up with the zeros and bring in my next napkin and do the same thing. Line that up, press that down, take it to the machine and sew it. And by the same token, the same manner, I'm going to bring that other napkin in to do the bottom one. So I can do 3 at a time on one hooping and be quite efficient with that. Now with that, let me go back to the camera. Now let me go back to the slides now, because I think it's time to bring Tammy in for maybe some more comments and questions. Hi, Tammy.
Hey, Ain, we're doing great over here. We are busy.
I bet.
Well, we do have some questions. Christy wants to know I apologize because I was so busy over in the chat, I didn't see your samples, but she said you had a butterfly that was being shown with your puffy foam.
Yes.
Is that available in the program?
Gosh, that's a good question. And I would have to really dig in. There's so many little designs in there. And I would have to really dig in and see if it is. And I am sorry, I just should have that answer right off the bat. But I don't want to say no when it is in there. I don't want to say yes when it's not in there. So
yeah, and I apologize. I didn't even see which butterfly she was talking about.
Okay, hang on. It was this one.
Oh, you know what? I can do a quick check too for her, and I'll look for it as soon as I get back over here in the chat.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
What else you got?
I got some more questions. Cindy wants to know, is the sale price good until Sunday?
Yes, it is. Isn't that cool? You can get these special prices clear the way until Sunday night.
That is true. And also, we just want to let you know, if you use the shipping code creativity today, and then you think, Saturday, I should have ordered something else, and you go back, you can use that same code as all weekend. It's not a one-time thing. Our free shipping code will work until Sunday as well.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, good point, Tammy. Thanks.
Now, we have a lot of questions about Mac. That's a lot of questions I'm answering here in the chat. So I thought maybe I'll just bring it to you live. They want to know, does the translator kick you out of Mac applications? The translator is just so that your Mac computer can read the software without parallels and the boot camp.
Great point, Tammy. And that will clear up a lot for the Mac users.
Right. I mean, it is just I like to say a little bit of, I don't even know if it's software, a little bit in your computer that helps it read a foreign language to make it work on Mac computers.
And that makes sense. They call it a translator.
That's right.
Help to read that foreign language. Yeah, that foreign code.
And also I want to, earlier, and I apologize, I had totally forgot that people were asking, our software comes with those tutorials that people love, but I've already purchased mine. Can I purchase those? Well, we do have them in the shopping pane. They are located at the last page above the free design. So I just want to let you know, I was telling them, yes, you can call our customer service, and I saw that they were in our shopping pane, and they are called Get to Know Word Art and Stitches and the Fun Stuff in Word Art and Stitches.
Yes, and they are wonderful lessons. They really are. If you like, learning from a printed page, they're in PDF format so that you can print them out without a problem and then learn it page by page.
That's right. Well, Ain, I know you're going to have a lot more to show us in this last half. So we're almost done, aren't we? Time is flying by today.
Where did the time go? Yes, I've got a bunch more to do. So let's get right at it.
Sounds.
Thank you, Tammy. Okay. Let's see how we can get successful results with large text or with small text. Let's first talk about big ones, jumbo monograms, mega monograms. They're dramatic, they're striking. Just ask Laverne DeFazio of Laverne and Shirley. She had those large L's on just about everything that she owned. And you can do large monograms in Word Art and Stitches because we have a couple of jumbo fonts where you can go 7, 8, 9, even 10 inches high on your letters. And don't forget, you can do applique letters and you can make those big. And they are dramatic and they are striking. They're gorgeous. Now, maybe you're thinking, like, well, no big deal. I'll just take a letter and I'll just increase the size to whatever size that I need. Well, if it's a satin stitch based letter, that works up to a certain point because satin stitch has a maximum width of about 8 to 10 millimeters. Anything more than that, it's going to be loopy and it could be easily snagged once you stitch it out. And here's a risk. You may exceed the machine's programmed trim code so that if you take a letter over there with big satin stitches, your machine might see it as a jump stitch, not stitch it. They won't even display it. It won't even display it on the LCD display. No worries, because Word Art and Stitches will convert one of those satin-based letters into split satins if it gets to be too big, so that you still have the look of that satin stitch, but you don't have all of that damage. How about small text? Let's go the other direction. Monograms on collars, cuffs is where you're going to use these small text. Handkerchiefs, lots of places, quilt labels, recipe towels. How do we make sure that we get good results with small text? Because it is tricky. And I'm talking about characters that are less than a ½ inch in height. You can't just grab that resize handle and squeeze it down, because when you sew it out, it looks horrible. You need the right font, you need the right needle, and you need the right thread. And you really need all three. Because when you just resize a standard font, the lettering sinks into the surface. It's got to have the appropriate column width. It's got to be digitized to be small. And here's another reason why. When digitizers make standard fonts, they use a wire frame that help them guide where to put the needle drops. And they deliberately build in overlap. Now, when you resize that letter, yeah, it recalculates the stitches, but those overlap points are still there. And that's where you get knots and thread breaks and sometimes needle breaks. You've got to have a font specifically digitized to be small because they don't have so many overlaps. And you're going to get micro fonts, is what we call them, 19 different micro fonts in Word Art and Stitches. There's 8 new ones with the update. Easy to find because it's got a microtext icon. Got the right font, let's get the right thread. It's really important that you sew those small texts with fine line 60 weight thread. And our exquisite fine line thread comes in 15 different colors, 1,500 meters, and we've got a great way for you to buy that, and that is in quartets. So we've got a set of browns, a set of neutrals, which has white, grays, and blacks, and the primary colors. And the basics and the neutral quartets are in the bundle, so they're in that starter kit. Okay, so let's make sure that we also have the right needle. We recommend a small blade needle, such as a 65-9 for fine thread sizes. And if you're going to use that small of a needle, then turn that automatic threader. Don't use the automatic threader. That threader just can't find that needle. We've got a needle sampler pack that has 100 various point sizes and point types, but we've also got a few needles in the bundle. Here's a way to express your creativity, and that is with bubble text in Word Art and Stitches. As I've said, just one of the great features of all time. And this is where you put words or designs to fill a shape. There's over 670 shapes that you can work with in Word Art and Stitches. Look at these adorable witch boot shapes that you can make the towel for Halloween, or something like this for your kitchen. I used it to make these great towels for my kitchen. I love the cupcake and the ice cream cone shape. And I even used it to make a pillow cover for that kitty cat. And those of you that are the Big Bang Theory fans, well, immediately recognized the words to soft kitty in that kitty cat. And here's an awesome idea. Word Art and Stitches bubble text has all 50 states in it as a shape. So bring that in and use it as a frame for a monogram for somebody that maybe is going off to college or somebody that just feels very strongly, as we all do, about our home state. Here's another great feature of Word Art and Stitches, and that is subway art. Subway art is defined as a block that contains 3 different font sizes, at least 3 different colors, with designs and that fill all that out. You know, it's hard to do this if you're going to do it by hand. Well, there are 9 different templates that you can use in Word Art and Stitches. I used it for a baby quilt that I made a few years ago. I even used bubble text for the footprint over right in that center row. I put in a fabric picture of the newborn and then used subway art to put in all of the birth statistics for Amelia Marie. I got the birth date wrong, but that's a story for another time. But it makes a great baby quilt block. So let's see a little bit more of Word Art and go back to our program. And first of all, I want to show you, so here's the, I'm just going to show you some of the jumbo text. So I'm going to find it and it's listed, it's easily found. You just go to J for jumbo and I'm going to show you, I passed it. Where is it? It's in red. There it is. It's right there. Look at this gorgeous letter. And that can go anywhere from 7 inches to almost 10 inches high without any trouble. So that's one of the new jumbo fonts. There's also, here's where you would find the microtext. There's an icon that'll take you right to it. And you'll see all of these microtexts in Word Art and Stitches. So easy to find. I'm going to delete that one. And then go to the foam icon. And this right next door. So puffy text. Look at all of these cool fonts for puffy text. And I'm going to look at this one. This is one of my favorites. So let me just type a letter in here so that we can see it. Look at that. That's the Old English for foam fonts. That looks pretty awesome. And there's also some that you could use maybe, you know, for sports letters. That's the classic puffy font. But let's go to the bubble text, which is going to be right here. And I'll show you how I did that kitty cat. So when you click the bubble text icon, this is what you come up with. And this is your workbox. So this is where you're going to pick any of your shapes and look at the shape library. There's tons of them. There's alphabets and look at all of the animals there. You can even do cool holiday. Look at all the Christmas ones and the Halloween ones where that witch's boot was, and even some of the kitchen ones. Look at the teapot. These look really cool with word art and with words in them. And of course, a lot of cool sewing icons. And there's the one for all the states. But let me go back up because I'm going to pick the kitty cat. So I'm just going to pick my shape and it comes in on my workbox. Now you can make it whatever shape, size that you want. You can also choose how you want the border treated, whether you want it just a run stitch or a satin stitch. In my case, I'm going to do an applique and it'll come in with a placement, the tack down, the whole shoot and match. And here's where you put the words and you just start typing the words with a space between them. You don't need any commas. So the words is soft kitty. I bet you guys are singing it at home. Warm kitty, fur, and then what's it? Happy. So you just type your words in here. And you have a choice of whether making the words go all horizontal, all vertical, or a combination, or any. So it's kind of just a random arrangement. You can even choose the style of your fonts. And with all of these, you can even create your own style. So I'm going to choose script. No, I think I'll choose fun. This is kind of a fun pillow. You can do the mins and maxes for the font sizes. You can put them in envelopes. You can manipulate the space between the letters. You can even manipulate the colors that the fonts come in on. I chose Cake Time because that kind of matched my pillow fabric. And you can put designs in there if you want, whether it be Halloween or math or punctuation marks. I didn't do any of these in there, and you can even create your own. But just then when you click apply, then the computer fills that shape with those words. Isn't that cool? And if you don't like that, because there's quite a few worms in there, you could just click apply again, respin it, and I kind of like that. You just click OK, it comes in on your workspace, and that's how easy it is. Now, you can edit this if you don't particularly like that many words in there. You can take one out, you can delete it, you can change their place, rotate them around until you get this just the way you like it, and it's perfect. And then it will sew out. This one will sew out as an applique, and that's how easy it is. Let me also show you really quickly how easy subway art is. And so let me just get one of the templates, and I'll bring in just one of the baby templates, and it looks just like that. So this is a perfect baby quilt block, but you can easily change what you want to put in by ungrouping it, selecting the name or whatever you want to change. And maybe you want to put in, it's the baby's name isn't Brandon, it's Amelia. So just type in Amelia. And if it doesn't fit the shape, you just stretch it to fit it. So with each one of these, you can input exactly how much the baby weighed. You can do the birth date. Please get it right. Don't do like me. If you don't want a bare face, you can do something else. If the baby looks like mommy instead of daddy, you can change that so quickly, so easily. It just takes a couple of seconds. So that's one of the features that is really fun to do. And don't forget, we've got templates on sewing, on wedding, on new home, a couple of ones that for babies, and it's so easy to do word art and stitches. Now, let me do a couple of really quick things, embroidering on fine fabrics, because I want to help you with that. A lot of times we do embroider on fine fabrics. It's important to prep the fabric. Sullivan's Fabric Stabilizer is like a spray-in stabilizer that will work with your fine fabrics. And here's the problem. When we're going to do a monogram or some type of embroidery on a sheer fabric, and we use a tearaway, it will show through. We could use a wash away, but what if the item isn't water tolerant? We need sew-in heat, which is a transparent stabilizer for non-water tolerant fabrics. You just tear away the excess and then remove any little bits with a low, medium heat iron. Sew-in heat is one of the items in the bundle. For handkerchief embroidery, so here's your recipe. You're going to use 2 layers of sew-in heat under the fabric. You're going to hoop all the layers, 65/9 sharp point needle for your microtext, and a 60 weight thread. Then you just tear off the big chunks and hit the back with a low to medium heat dry iron, and the rest of that sew-in heat just crumbles away and brushes away. Now, for those items that are water tolerant, you might want to do a water soluble sticky, and we've got our adhesive sew-in wash on special today also. If you are overwhelmed by all of these stabilizers, make sure that you get the Embroiderer's Compass, which is our own Deborah Jones' best recommendations for the stabilizer, the needle, and the needle point to use when you are embroidering on any types of fabric. It's a wheel with options on both sides that you just dial it to the fabric, and then the recommendations show up in the windows. So let me go really quick back to the camera, and I'll show you. So here's how those hankies turned out. So here's what I mean when I say that the stabilizer shows through the hankies. And if you can see here, so you don't want that. This is what you want. You want a transparent stabilizer that will completely remove from these hankies so that you don't see any stabilizer. So just quickly, here's a nice big monogram. Look how great that looks on a large tea towel. You can even do monograms on striped towels, such as I did here. And I put it on an applique, which picked up the color of my kitchen. You can do monograms with these open and airy, and you might want to use a tear and wash type of stabilizer. It's a tearaway with partially water-soluble fibers. that will wash away from all of these little open areas, because you could have about 6 more birthdays before you pick all that out. We've got a special type of tearaway stabilizer that will help when you are stitching a complex fill with an outline, and that is called a soft tearaway. And let me finally show you these bubble texts on these towels. Look how fun and how warm and inviting that is. And of course, the little soft kitty pillow cover, there it is. These are so fun to do. So I'm going to go back to back to Tammy right here. I'm going to go back to the slides because I see that I think we're out of time. And so Tammy, I'm going to bring you in one last time to see if we have any questions.
Well, Aiden, it has been great over here in the chat today. They are full of questions. I think we have most of our questions answered. Christy had a question, instead of using the bubble text for words, can she turn it into an applique?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely. You go through that same thing and you don't put any words in, but you make that applique. That's what's so cool. You can do all of those shapes as an applique.
That's right. Well, I think we have all of our questions over here answered. I appreciate today's event, and I appreciate everybody over in the chat. It was a great time and a great presentation, Nate. We loved it.
Oh, Tammy, thank you very much. And thank you so much for your help in the chat. I know your expertise was well used over there. So Thank you very much. And on behalf of Tammy and everyone at Dime, we also want to thank Oh My Crafty and Matt Winters for sponsoring us and this event today. And so thank you all for viewing. And until we have another event sponsored by Oh My Crafty, I'll say bye-bye for now.